friends, welcome to our first math lesson. Today we are going to be learning how to look at two objects to see if they are exactly the same or not exactly the same. Let's get started. I'm going to show you these two puffballs. You may recognize these from our counting to 3 activity that we did a little bit earlier. What do you notice about these puffballs? You may have said that they're both blue. Okay, so because these puffballs are both blue, I think that they are exactly the same. Wait a second. What do you notice about these puffballs? These puffballs are both blue too. This is a tricky one. Before, I thought that these two puffballs were exactly the same because they're both blue. But now, I see that these two puffballs are both blue, but they're not exactly the same. This puffball is bigger than this puffball. Tricky. Let's try another one. What do you notice about these puffballs? Say your sentence out loud to compare them. You can start your sentence with, they are both, and fill in the blank. You might have said they are both pink. I can see that really clearly. So are they exactly the same? Thumbs up if you think they're exactly the same. Thumbs down if you think they're not exactly the same. Oh, I didn't trick you. Thumbs down. Even though these are both pink, they are not exactly the same because they are not the same size. This puffball is bigger than this one. Let's try one more. What do you notice about these puffballs? Think in your brain and then say your answer out loud. You may have noticed that these puffballs are both big. They're the same size. So are they exactly the same? Thumbs up if you think yes. Thumbs down if you think no. Oh, I didn't trick you again. Good job, friends. These are not exactly the same because even though they're the same size, they are not exactly the same because they are not the same color. This puffball is pink and this one is yellow. Okay, now let's play a game. I need your help. I'm going to put some candy fish up here. And it's making me hungry. I love candy fish. I'll try not to eat these so we can get through our math lesson. Okay, friends, I want you to look at these fish and find 2 fish that are exactly the same. When you have found them, show a thumbs up. These 2 fish. And said, these 2 fish are exactly the same. Can you say out loud why? You can start your sentence with, they are both, and fill in the blank. Good job. Maybe you said they are both yellow. What else can we say to know they're exactly the same? Are they the same size? They are. So we could say, these fish are exactly the same because they're the same color and the same size. Let's try another one. Can you find 2 fish that are not exactly the same? Maybe you found a red fish and a green fish. Why are these not exactly the same? Say your answer out loud. Good. These are not exactly the same because they are not the same color. They are the same size, but because they're not the same color, they are not exactly the same. Great job, friends. Now to do a little more practice together, you need to get 2 materials. The first thing you need to find is your lesson 1 problem set. And it's a worksheet that looks just like this. You also need a crayon or a pencil. Either one will work. Go ahead and hit pause to find those 2 materials. And once you've found them, come back to the computer and hit play. See you in a sec. Okay, my friends. On this worksheet, we see a lot of different animals. Some animals are exactly the same, and some animals are not exactly the same. We're going to be comparing the animals in this column to the animals in this column. If the animals are exactly the same, we're going to draw a line in between them. And if they're not exactly the same, we're going to put an X. Let's do it together. Look at this first one. I see this is a bird, and it looks like it might be a pigeon. Here's the pigeon on the other side. And if I look really carefully at these 2 pigeons, I see they're the same color and the same size. So these 2 are good, exactly the same. So go ahead and trace over this line to connect them to show that they are exactly the same. Good job, friends. Now let's look at the squirrel, or the chipmunk. We'll call it a squirrel. Here's the squirrel on this side. Find the squirrel on this side. Point to it. There it is. Now look closely at this squirrel and this squirrel, friends. Are they exactly the same or not exactly the same? They are not exactly the same. Why? You got it. They are not the same size. This squirrel is bigger than this squirrel. So to show they are not exactly the same, let's put an X on both squirrels. Great job, friends. Now let's look at the rabbit. Find the rabbit on the other side. Point to it. There it is. Are these 2 rabbits exactly the same or not exactly the same? Great job. These are not exactly the same. This rabbit is smaller than this rabbit. Let's go ahead and put an X to show they are not exactly the same. 2 more, friends. Let's look at the skunk. Here's a skunk on this side, and here's a skunk on the other side. Are they exactly the same or not exactly the same? Try this one on your own. If you think they're exactly the same, draw a line in between. If they're not exactly the same, put an X on each skunk. Good job, friends. Let's check our work. I'm looking really closely, and even though these things are the same, these skunks are the same color, I know they're not exactly the same because they are not the same size. This skunk is bigger than this skunk, so I'm going to put an X. Good job if you got that one. If you made a mistake, no problem. Just go ahead and put an X on your skunks now. And last one, look at the dog on this side and the dog on this side. Draw a line in between the 2 dogs if you think they're exactly the same, and put an X on them if you think they are not exactly the same. Good job, friends. When I look closely at these two dogs, they are the same color and the same size. So they are exactly the same. Let's draw a line in between to show that. Good job. If you made a mistake, no worries. Go ahead and just fix it by drawing a line in between now. Awesome job, my friends. Tomorrow when we come together, you are going to need your picture that you drew earlier today of your blue puffball. So make sure you have that picture of your blue puffball in a safe place so that we can look at it again together tomorrow. Tonight, to practice thinking about things that are exactly the same or not exactly the same, here's what I want you to do. Look around your house and find two objects that are either exactly the same, like these two puffballs, or they could be two objects that are not exactly the same, like these two puffballs. It can be any object that you can find in your own home. And I want you to practice telling someone at home, how do you know that these two objects are exactly the same or not exactly the same? Bring those two objects with you tomorrow to our class meeting, and we'll talk about what you found. Bye for now, friends.